Hello everyone, this is Chris Interactive, and in this video we will finish up with our tab container or tab controls here. So previously we have the header working, but now once we're through with this video, we will have the content. So the content here is just the securities. We're on the securities tab. We click on categories, we get animation, shows only the categories, and the animation is appropriate for whether you're moving, I guess what we would call forward or backwards. And we've done that by just having a tab container where we specify the tabs, which are the strings, to put in the tabs. And then we just list our content below, and then the tab container takes care of all the rest of it. And so that's what we'll focus on in this video. Let me take the time to thank you for watching the video, and thank you if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that you'll please consider subscribing to the channel. With those said, let's go ahead and get started here. So like I said, where we ended up with on the last video was we have still a list of a whole bunch of information, and we have our tabs that are working now. We just have to make them show and hide the content. So the first thing that we're going to do is come in here to our tabs folder, create a new file, call it a tab entry.view. So in here we'll create our class and tab entry. Private is visible equals false. Let's give us a getter and setter here. Public get visible and return this dot is visible, and public set visible boolean, and this dot is visible equals visible. In principle, we don't even really need a getter here, at least for now, but Vue would complain when my plan is just to have this setter here. We'll set is visible or set visible on the outside, and we'll use the inside of our template here. So now we'll say we'll have a div and just say v-if one day, and we'll just say visible since we have the getter, might as well, and then the slot. So it doesn't matter whatever the content is, just show it. But now we have a way of hiding it. Let's go ahead and save that. Make our life a bit easier. I haven't been doing it previously, I don't think, but inside of our tabs, we're going to say index.ts, and it's not interesting enough to type it, so all we're going to do is take the default exports, name them from both the container and the tab entry. So we'll save that. Now if we go back to our securities here, all we have to do down here, so we have our tab container. Let's just modify that again. Who cares to watch me type an import statement? So we have a container and an entry now that we can just import from components/tabs. The reason we want that is so we can come down here to our component definition, tab entry. So the notion is that everything content-wise inside of a tab container, we're going to have it wrapped in a tab entry, right? So we have a tab entry here, we need one there. Oops, no. And there, I feel like I messed stuff up. And so to make this thing work then, we want these list elements or list views to be inside of our tab entries. Save that, and we should see everything, of course, disappear for now since the tab entries default to is visible false. But now we'll go back to our, well, for the first time in this video, the tab container. All right, tab container, we need tab entries, import from, no components slash tab entry dot view, tab entry, perfect. Okay, so the reason we want that is we're going to go inside of our class here. We're going to create a private read-only children. So tab entry array, and we'll start off empty. We're going to specify private active index, which is going to start with 0 here. And we'll come in here and go private mounted. Let's do some work in here. First off, we'll say type of this dot dollar slots. If that's undefined, or type of this dollar slots dot default. If that's undefined, then we'll just return. Nothing to see here. Otherwise, this dollar slots, we'll look on the default. Default is a vnode array or undefined. We've taken care of the undefined part. So now we do for each. So we get the node and the index. And we'll do some more ifing in here. So type of, and what we're looking at, x.component options. So it has an options. That I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not sure when that is undefined, but it can be. Oops. Type of undefined, not there. Okay, finally. We're also going to check type of x.component instance. Why this thing can be undefined. I mean, in our particular case, I'm saying. I'm not sure when it would be, but could be. Let's return. And then we are free to do some other stuff here. The other stuff being another if. So component options, there's a property on there for tag. If that's not equal to tab entry, then what we'll do is just do a console error here, right? So basically what I'm expecting is the setup that we have here, that the direct child of the tab container to be a tab entry. So we're checking the tag name. So if it's not tab entry, we'll put an error in the console. Otherwise, we will say const entry is equal to x.component instance. So that's the obviously instance. And we can be reasonably sure it's a tab entry now. So entry dot visible is equal to I. So the index, this dot active index, this dot children dot push entry. All right, and while we're at it, we have to do something with our set active, since for the moment active index is always 0. So we're getting in, actually I'm going to change this pause to the index. So we're getting in that index, and so all we'll do is say this dot children dot for each. We'll do the same thing as we did above there. Some things are going to get changed here at the end. That's why we're retyping this. Visible equals I and index. Let's go ahead and save that. So now we have our securities pop up. Important part though is that it's only the securities. So if we tab over, we get categories, markets, segments. So everything is working the way that we want it to. Of course, it could be a little better, right? We're just showing and hiding them. And we're in a position where we can easily add animations. So still inside of our tab container here, what we'll do is import a few things through the magic of copy and paste. So everything basically we need when doing animations. We need to specify an animatable item. Let's come down to the class first. This is pretty typical for what we do when we do this animation. So we'll have a private read-only animation options out. So animation subject options. So basically these are the things that we want to run. The options for performing when an animation is completed or is out, the out one. Now when it's complete, we'll run this dot animation complete out. So method we have not specified yet. But to make everything work, we also need a subject, private read-only subject, new animation subject. We're on the way. Private in animation. We'll start off with none. All right, now let's get rid of our squiggly. Private animation complete out. So the method to run, and that method then is this dot children dot for each. I guess let's steal this. Won't be down there. So we're running the for each up here on our animation complete. So basically we have something shown. You click on a tab, it animates out while it's off screen. We now want to show the one that's now going to be visible. And we know this one because this dot active index is going to tell us. And now it's off screen and shown. What we want is then to say request an animation frame. And then what we're going to do is this dot animation subject dot next and this dot in animation. So now bring it back in. I think now let's do our set active part down here. So we're getting our index in. So what we're going to need to determine is what animation we need to play to go out. And we'll just do if index is greater than this dot active index, we'll do something. Else if index is less than this dot active index, do something else. And if it's the same thing, we just return. So inside of here we have our out animation. So index is greater than the active index. So we'll have an animation type of translate out to left, which then means that the in animation is animation types translate in from right. So we need to specify both of these again, except this I guess will be translate out to right. And this one will be translate in from left. And now that we know which animations to play, we can set the active index to the index that's passed in. And we need to run the animation. So next, which one? The out animation. And we have to tell it the options to use once it's complete, or options to use for the animation. So I think that the class part of things is good. So we'll go up here to our template. So we have our header and then the slot below it. So here we need an animatable item. vbind our subject. Animation subject. Move our slot inside of there. Save it. Do our usual crossing of fingers. So now, if I click on it, we get the nice animations running and going in the proper direction, it appears. The only thing that you'll note is that if you look at the bottom there, maybe you'll just see it, the horizontal scroll bar comes up, of course. So let's deal with that. It's, as well as up here, we're going to put a tab container class on it. come down, SAS tab container. Inside of here, all we need is to set overflow hidden. Save that. I think we do need a refresh after that. So now we have the animations without the horizontal scroll bar coming into view. So that's working perfectly. And in principle, we're basically done. Except that I think we can make it just a little bit nicer, a little cooler here. It'd be nicer if we did not have to wrap all the contents of our tab container in another class, this tab entry, right? Would be nice if, what was the last thing that I did here? These. It would be nice if we in fact just had that, right? Tab container, tell it the tabs to put across the top, the strings, and then just put our content inside of it. And that's our goal to accomplish now. So of course, right now we're getting our error, must be an instance of tab entry. So let's go back into our tab container here and do some more work. Not much, but a little bit. So tab container, we're going to come up here and import something real quick. So import from, we have a types here. Inside of that types is a refs type. What we're going to do is come down and use that to say public $refs. That's equal to whatever view says it is. But in addition to that, it's going to be set for us. In addition to that, we're going to have something on there, an item, a container, if you can spell, which is going to be an HTML element, please. To get that to work, let's just come up here. We're going to eliminate our slot. Let's just take that, make it a div. I feel like that's not tabbed in the right spot, but it looks like it is. Ref equals, and we called it container, right? So we'll save that, and now we have, again, nothing being shown. But let's come down here and do some work, I guess, in our mounted. So we'll still do the check about whether the slots are defined or not, default. But we're going to do some changes here. I'm going to just delete everything to start with. So inside of here, we'll just say entry is equal to new tab entry. So we've created our tab entry on our own. Now we'll say entry. I guess we could have just, where'd you just import? Ends with. Entry dot visible, that's equals this dot active index. Perfect. So now we need, so those entries are basically, for our purposes, the list views, right? So we have list views, we have 6 of those list views. We are going to say whether they're the entry, so now we still need to wrap the list view with an entry. So the way that we're going to do that is by saying entry dot dollar slots dot default. So we already mentioned that that's an array or undefined. So let's just put our list view, decorator, whatever, default. Let's put our list view inside of there. And now we'll just say entry.$amount. And so this $refs has a container on it. It's a div. This is the reason why I just wanted a regular HTML element, not a view element. And the thing that we're going to append is entry dot, and it has a $el element on it. We still want to push in the entry to our children. Perfect. And then I think that should be all that we need. So let's save that. So just to be sure, refresh, saw our securities pop back up. So now we have our securities. There's our categories, markets, and the animations are working the way that we want them to. And we've accomplished that now only, like I said, just having the tab container. We give it the strings that we want as tabs, and then just put whatever content we want inside of there, and the tab container will take care of the rest. I have a couple of ideas of what to do next, but I haven't made up my mind, so we will both have to wait and see. But until the next video, I will talk to you later. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.